It's Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. Trump giveth and taketh away. Is there a long game with the firing of that Federal Reserve governor? And why Democrats need to get serious about this one issue. Next on the AM Update. On the topic of cracking down on crime in the nation's capital, President Trump, during his cabinet meeting yesterday, said people actually are joking about wanting a dictator.
Sir, you're doing a great job. You're doing an unbelievable job. Thank you very much. But then he goes on television and says, oh, Trump is a dictator. He's a dictator. And a lot of people are so the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator. I just know how to stop crime.
Honestly, I don't know if he's intending to do that, but if you look back through history, that's basically how autocrats come to power. It's not because not usually because there's a coup or anything. It's because they actually do things unilaterally that people enjoy, and so they get to enjoy power for a long time. Again, I don't know if that's what he's talking about there at that same cabinet meeting. Trump taketh away. Here he is on the jab.
Despite COVID, which was a very unfortunate situation for the whole world, we did a great job with it. Never got the credit for the job we did. Operation Warp Speed, people say, is one of the greatest achievements ever in politics or in the military, because it was almost a military procedure. But everybody, including Putin, said that Operation Warp Speed, what you did with that, nobody can believe it. And we did a great job, but it was a horrible pall over our country.
I feel like Gabe from The Office when Andy keeps going on talking about fun facts about the sun, like the planet, the sun, the star, the sun. Shut up about the sun. Shut up about Operation Warp Speed.
Shut up about the sun. Shut up about the sun.
Shut up about Operation Warp Speed. Please. We're able to overlook and live with a lot of stuff. That is not one of them. Well, one thing that we are living with in a positive direction is the firing of Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. President Trump made that announcement earlier this week, citing evidence she committed mortgage fraud. Well, Lisa Cook says she's fighting back. She's going to file a lawsuit challenging her removal. Cook's attorney, Abe Lowell, said in a statement, quote, President Trump has no authority to remove Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. His attempt to fire her based solely on a referral letter lacks any factual or legal basis. Abe Lowell, by the way, that attorney, same attorney for one Hunter Biden. You'll notice in the statement, even if you read the entire statement, they actually don't dispute any of the facts or charges that President Trump brought to bear regarding alleged mortgage fraud against Lisa Cook. I wonder if there's a long game being played here, though. The Fed came out yesterday and said they will abide by any court proceedings when it comes to this case of removing Lisa Cook from her position as governor on the Federal Reserve. I wonder, though, if Jay Powell, if he allows her to continue her duties as governor, even though she has officially been fired, I wonder if that could be a for-cause offense from Jay Powell in the future, allowing somebody who is not an actual governor on the Federal Reserve. I wonder if allowing her to continue acting as if she is employed while she is not officially employed, I wonder if that's a fireable offense in the not-too-distant future. I wonder if there's some sort of long game being played here. Well, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says we're approaching $500 billion in so-called revenue from tariffs.
I had been saying was running at a rate of $300 billion a year. You chastise me for saying that it's not, that number is too low. And as usual, you're right, that we had a substantial jump from July to August. And I think we're going to see a bigger jump from August to September. So I think we could be on our way well over $500 billion, maybe towards the $1 trillion number.
So we're heading fast-tracked towards $1 trillion in quote-unquote revenue. I'm still saying quote-unquote because we don't know, I don't think, for sure who is paying the brunt of those costs for tariffs. But President Trump says he hasn't forgotten about the idea for a dividend from these tariffs.
I mean, there's a concept of making a you could call it a dividend, as we would say, making a dividend to the people in this country who have had to suffer through stupid leadership, and they paid a lot of taxes and they got nothing for it, or they got attacked like you were, okay, for it.
I think the idea of a dividend paid for by tariffs is morally destitute and bankrupt. However, politically, it's a freaking brilliant masterstroke. It is. And that's a sad commentary on what I think of most of this country. We really like our free stuff here in the United States. A fatal crash in Florida involving an illegal alien semi-truck driver earlier this month prompted the state to take new measures to prevent future tragedies. State Attorney General James Uthmeier announced on Monday the state would turn its way stations into immigration and customs enforcement checkpoints. Arjinder Singh, that 28-year-old Indian national who illegally crossed the border into the United States in 2018, he was arrested after he jackknifed his truck while allegedly making an illegal U-turn back on August 12th. The maneuver caused the truck to crush a minivan, killing everyone in the vehicle. Singh obtained his commercial driver's license in California. That incident highlighted, of course, problems in the American trucking sector. Well, they're trying to fix those problems, at least in Florida. Uthmeier said during a Monday press conference, quote, "Someone that should never have been given a driver's license, much less a CDL license, to drive a larger commercial vehicle, engaged in reckless behavior that took 3 lives. Last night," he said, "we saw another example over the weekend. We were able to arrest an individual who was in the country illegally, who was driving a commercial vehicle in Bay County, Florida." Uthmeier, alongside Agricultural Commissioner Wilton Simpson, announced immigration enforcement at Florida way stations, including a new station near the Alabama border on Highway 231. The move will also include the addition of more pullover lanes in North Florida and the implementation of X-ray technology. Didn't I mention this on AM Update last week? Why don't you just turn every single way station into an immigration and customs enforcement checkpoint? And anybody who doesn't speak English, sorry, you're in violation of the law and a danger to others on the road. Well, it has been independently confirmed now by multiple reporters and personalities that what FBI Director Kash Patel posted late last week is true. What am I referring to? It's this. Agreements have been reached, Kash Patel says, with 10 FBI whistleblowers and counsel to include a combination of back pay, security clearance, and reinstatement. We greatly appreciate President Trump's commitment to transparency and accountability. Thank you to Senator Chuck Grassley for working with us to make this happen. Thank you to FBI Director Kash Patel. Thank you to Senator Chuck Grassley for doing the right thing here. I'm relieved on a couple of different levels because I've had the opportunity to go back and forth with, on a somewhat personal level, with one of those whistleblowers for my day job. That would be Steve Friend. Just an outstanding man. A whistleblower, an FBI whistleblower, but an outstanding human being. And I know how much he takes seriously his job, his old job, and it sounds like his new one or resumed job here in the not too distant future. And so I'm relieved for him. I'm also relieved because we were at the precipice of a very, very dangerous precedent. And that was, what would would-be future whistleblowers look back on? Hey, these guys in the past blew the whistle, and it completely destroyed their lives. Now we don't have that precedent. At least it doesn't look like we're setting that precedent any longer. So I'm relieved on a couple of different levels. One for the whistleblowers themselves, including Steve Friend, and on another level for future whistleblowers. Well, it's a complete and total victory for critics of Cracker Barrel's new logo, which they unveiled last week to much, much, much criticism. The company said in a statement, quote, "We thank our guests for sharing your voices and love for Cracker Barrel. We said we would listen, and we have. Our new logo is going away, and our old timer will remain." The nationwide restaurant chain and country store, of course, known for its nostalgic feel and comfort food, unveiled that new logo last week. And everybody from President Trump to the official Democrats' social media feeds, they all said in unison, hey, Cracker Barrel united the country. Both the official Democrat accounts and President Trump said this logo is trash. Now the company is reversing course. Well, the Democrat National Committee is in the midst of their annual meetings. Here's how Ken Martin, chair of the DNC, kicked things off the other day.
Lindy Somek, who is from the Saginaw Ojibwe Nation, and she's going to deliver our land acknowledgement today. Lindy?
Of course. Of course, the DNC kicked off with a land acknowledgement.
Lindy Salmek Nindichnikaz, Amekdodam, Saginaw Chippewa Dojaba, and Anishinaabe Kwe and Dow.
Okay, whatever. I mean this genuinely. I don't mean this as a troll at all. But if you're a party, a political party, who believes that the ground upon which you trod is stolen, why are you just settling for land acknowledgements at events like this? Shouldn't this be a primary plank in your platform? Shouldn't you be running on, hey, if you elect us, we will return to the chieftain leadership and the tribal leadership. We will turn every single blade of grass, return it back to its right leadership of the Apaches, the Chippewas, the Hurons, the Iroquois. Shouldn't that be a primary platform? That's a very serious charge. That we are illegitimate. That's what the charge is. Everything we do is illegitimate because we stole this land. Shouldn't your platform then have a very serious charge to actually fix that problem? It's never made sense to me. If you think this is such a big deal, it should be a major part of your platform. But here we are. I mean that genuinely, not trying to troll. Well, when we come back, Marco Rubio is thankful that it's Labor Day. Also, a huge topic of conversation from across the pond this week. Just outrage in Scotland. And air analysis coming up on why you should be cheering for Tay-Tay. That's coming up next.
Mr. President, first of all, everyone's made this comment already and needs to be echoed again. You were elected as the president of working Americans, and that's why this Labor Day is so meaningful. For me personally, this is the most meaningful Labor Day of my life as someone with 4 jobs. And so...
Rubio's got the jokes. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I think there's some fake news there because I'm pretty sure he's got like 9 jobs. Pretty sure he's got 9 jobs. Secretary of State Rubio saying he's thankful for this Labor Day because of how many official jobs he's actually doing. And it's true. He is a busy dude. Well, one of the things that Rubio, or at least broader foreign policy in the Trump administration, has been busy with is alerting Europe to just how big of a hole they've dug when it comes to freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and other issues like the ongoing immigration crisis, especially in the United Kingdom. Well, we have the most recent example of just how far down the rabbit hole the United Kingdom has gone with immigration. Yet another example occurred in Scotland this week with the arrest of a 14-year-old girl who went viral on social media after defending another girl from a migrant stalking them on video. The teen can be pulling out a kitchen knife and hatchet and screaming at the man to leave them alone. Now, this video is rife with language, so it's not even worth playing for you, but you can hear in the girl's voice how scared she is and how desperate she is for these men to leave them alone. I think one girl was 14, the other girl was 12. Now, that same girl has reportedly been arrested by Scottish authorities for, quote, brandishing a bladed weapon. It's illegal in the UK to carry almost any self-defense tool, and knives over 3 inches are banned from personal carry. UK media coverage, of course, conveniently leaves out any mention of the migrant when reporting on the arrest. Details of the arrest are thin, and the incident, of course, has everybody asking a lot of questions. Elon Musk, even this week, has been on the warpath about these so-called grooming or rape gangs in the United Kingdom. I don't pay attention a whole lot to the maladies that immigration or other related to the United Kingdom. But that video, just absolutely. I don't know if you've seen it and you know what I'm talking about here. And again, there's so much language being used, it's pointless to try to play it back for you. It would just be a long stream of bleeps. But that video is just, at a human level, heartbreaking. You can hear in that girl's voice how scared she is. She knows what's going on with these migrants, many of them Muslims. She knows the danger that she's in if she's being stalked by one of them. And UK leadership does absolutely nothing. Well, back at home, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. raised the alarm earlier this year about the meteoric rise of reported autism cases in the United States, underscoring at a press conference, quote, "We're doing this to our children and we need to put an end to it." Well, a study published this month in the peer-reviewed medical journal BMC Environmental Health could prove valuable to the Department of Health and Human Services campaign to narrow down the possible causes of autism. Researchers from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, University of California, Los Angeles' School of Public Health, and the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai systematically reviewed 46 well-designed studies incorporating data from over 100,000 participants regarding the relationship between neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism and attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, and prenatal exposure to acetaminophen. Acetaminophen, that's of course the drug sold under the brand Tylenol in the United States and Canada, is the most common over-the-counter pain and fever medication used during pregnancy and is reportedly used by well over 50% of pregnant women worldwide. The researchers found that 27 of the studies reported significant links between acetaminophen exposure in the womb and neurological development disorders, and noted that higher quality studies were likely to show positive associations. That write-up courtesy of The Blaze. So, could it be the risk that we knew about all this time, acetaminophen? We've known, pregnant women probably shouldn't take this. Is that one of the primary drivers? Is that one of the primary, or at least that's the gateway to something else that is common in those who have neurological development disorders, like autism? Very interesting indeed. RFK Jr. said this week, without revealing what it was, that he's pretty confident they have narrowed down at least a broad cause for autism. And finally, air analysis, slightly acidic, mostly necessary. You have probably heard the news unless you're living in a hole, and yes, I am talking about this. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. Swift shared Tuesday on Instagram, quote, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." Don't know what that is. I guess it's some sort of Swiftie inside joke. In the photos the pop superstar shared, Kelce could be seen on one knee as Swift caressed his face during the intimate moment. And of course, this is happening right before football season, as I'm sure many have noted. Just in time for more close-ups at Arrowhead Stadium for now fiancée Taylor Swift. Now, on a serious note, you can do all the joking you want to, and a lot of them have been really good. My favorite was the one where saying that Travis Kelce should make, Harrison Butker a groomsman. That way Harrison Butker can walk somebody like Blake Lively down the aisle. I think that would be hilarious. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be hilarious. There have been a lot of good memes, a lot of good jokes coming out of this. But here's why you should cheer for this to actually come to bear good fruit. And you should be cheering for this marriage to last a long time. And you should cheer for them to be happy. And I mean this very sincerely and seriously. Taylor Swift, right or wrong, and yeah, it's probably a sign of a dying culture when somebody like her has so much influence and sway over peers in her age group, and even younger. But she does have a lot of influence on young women. And do you understand, if this is a happy, healthy marriage that produces children, do you have any idea what that would do, not only to marriage rates, but birth rates in this country? That if she actually puts together a picture of a good, healthy, strong marriage, I'm not sure if she's capable, I'm not sure if this pair is capable of it, but if she's prepared to actually do that, that would actually be an example of good common grace, that the favor that God even shows on the unrighteous, on the unregenerate, I should say. We're all unrighteous. That would be a massive boon for this culture. Now, it's only a boon in as much as those who maybe follow Taylor Swift's example enter into a marriage maybe for the wrong reasons, but then discover, wow, this is so much better than it was being single. I understand why marriage is important now. There will be stories like that. There will be. Man, I'm going to have a kid just like Taylor Swift. And then you realize this is a huge responsibility. I can't do this alone. Where would I go Where would I go for support? Where would I go to make sure that I'm actually bringing up this kid in the right way? Do you understand the opportunity the church would have? I'm not the only one who believes that marriage rates will explode. Brad Wilcox at the National Marriage Project at the University of Virginia, he's a very serious academic. He said that marriage rates will explode. It will. So I know it's annoying. I know every Sunday it's just more Taylor Swift, more Travis Kelce on your TV screens. Get them off the screen. No, I know it's annoying. But you should be rooting for this marriage to be healthy, strong, and for them to be happy and bring children into this world. I think there's a massive opportunity culturally if that comes to pass. Of course, putting all this aside, I'm pretty sure the plan, as I saw a few people post yesterday, pretty sure the plan was for Travis Kelce to propose after the Super Bowl last year, or earlier this year, I should say. And of course, that didn't happen because my Chiefs got their you-know-what handed to them. That's going to do it for Wednesday. Back at it again tomorrow. I'm Aaron McIntyre, and this is the AM Update.